welcome to Family Healing with Rose and Dr. Pat. Are you struggling with painful, exhausting family relationships? Those relationships are in the heart of Rose's practice, and she believes they are the key ingredient in the recovery to our well-being. During the show, Rose will teach you how to take ownership and responsibility for your energy that comes to you, as well as what you send out. What if your family is not the one you would have wished for? During this show, Rose and Dr. Pat will help you understand how to set boundaries, get long-deserved relief, achieve peace of mind, and even reconcile. Get ready to explore your possibilities coming from hardship to shining again. Family Healing with Rose starts now.
Hey, everybody, welcome. I'm Dr. Pat, and as we said, I was saying earlier to Rose, just so you know, and I want you all to write this down. All of the statistics are coming out now. How do I know? My brain works that way. Certainly my training, certainly my own research, but it's one thing we're now knowing. If there was ever a time, ever, that I can think about where families needed to get some professional, absolutely heartfelt help, it is now. And when you think about Rose, Family Healing with Rose, this is what Rose does. This is what Rose does. This, and if you're listening to this show and you're thinking, oh, I don't know, I'm just saying, you don't have to have your entire entourage of family to work with Rose. But I'm just going to give you all an invitation right now, because this is about soul retrieval. There is a part of something you can do to help. This is it. Today's episode is about soul retrieval. Rose, great to have you here. I mean, I'm right. I mean, you don't need the statistics. You're in the profession. You know what people have gone through in the past 3 years, but it's just coming to light now. And so today's show is called Soul Retrieval. For people that maybe have not heard your other shows, and if you're not, y'all need to go listen to them. What does soul retrieval mean in the realm of family healing?
Hello, Dr. Pat. Hello, everybody. What is soul retrieval? Ever since that something happened, I have never been the same. Maybe it's you who has never been the same. Maybe it's somebody you know. We frequently exchange soul fragments with close family and friends, between spouses, parents and children, lovers. It's kind of how we are, what we are. We share. It's natural to share. But sharing our essence is not losing it. It is not natural to lose our soul fragments. So when does this happen? Traditionally, it used to be during war or hunting or at the time of a death in family.
Yeah.
Today, soul loss is still frequent during accidents, collisions, surgery, abuse, whether sexual, physical, or emotional, toxic relationships, stressful workplace, divorce, fear, natural disasters, drug use, or even simply situations where our soul will feel all the time that we do not take a good care of it, that we do not appreciate this life. Now, another way of losing our soul fragments is soul theft. And that is also quite common. Strangely enough, for it to happen, we allow it. Now, why would somebody steal our soul parts, our essence, our energy? Because of the energy. It happens during act of violence, but also at times when we are jealous or envious, or we simply desire to be loved by someone, but our relationship is broken. Did you ever feel getting tired in presence of someone?
Yes.
Or getting a headache?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's how we get wrong.
And many other symptoms. But you know, there sometimes you can't describe them, but you just know. So, the other day I made a statement, Rose, and it was interesting you bringing this up. But I said, you know, I feel a little off. That was the only thing I said. You know, I feel a little off. And so often we're busy, but that could be what you're talking about, right?
That's it. We just feel off, tired, headache, something strange, something weird. I need air. I can't sit here anymore. And so once we are aware, we can protect ourselves, right? It's strange because this situation, when our soul part gets stolen, whether it's a stranger or it's a loved one, it's a lose-lose situation, because the person let's say I lose my force, but the other person, the thief, cannot use it, and it's a foreign energy for them, and it fills up their space, and then their own energy cannot expand freely. And soul theft is a very serious matter in a case of death.
Wow.
Okay.
I never thought of that, Rose.
Between family members, it's rather common. Soul parts may be stolen or given away deliberately when I want to accompany my loved one. And this is often the reason that the second spouse dies shortly thereafter. The last one I would like to mention today is cases of organ loss: leg, hand, knee replacement, hip replacement, hysterectomy. Okay, with the organ goes also our essence. Or organ donation, where we may receive somebody else's soul parts. Now, what happens during the trauma? Let's call it during the event, the accident, the trauma, the event, whatever happened, okay? The part of the soul, and it's going to be most often the fragile part of the soul, separates and flees. This is a positive thing, because this ensures our survival. It's a protection, it's a coping mechanism. Because in a challenging situation, when there is too much damage to the soul, we die. So the fragile part flees, and what remains is the strong and courageous part. And this part stays and deals with the trauma. Okay. Now, how does it manifest? How do I know that I have lost soul parts? For example, like I already started in the beginning, never been the same ever since the accident, or feeling out of space, feeling disconnected, feeling like something is missing, feeling an emptiness. And this is not just people that this can be true about any of us. I had a fulfilling career, 2 beautiful, healthy children, amazing husband, and yet, and even though then the children were small and my hands were really full, I didn't really have time to sit and relax. I still somehow felt that there is a strange emptiness in my life, and I could not point a finger on it. Okay? So you can be completely surrounded and busy and yet have missing soul parts. Other symptoms would be dissociations with that's a mouthful. Dissociation with life, feeling like an observer, like watching a movie, not participating. Low or no interest in life. Depression, even suicidal thoughts. Frequent accidents. Oh my God, I can never get a break. It's always something happening with me or around me. Low immune system. Getting sick frequently, or developing incurable illnesses. Insomnia, chronic fatigue. In general, unable to heal and move forward. And we even say it, or like, I have never been the same. I feel disconnected. I'm not whole. There is something wrong. I feel scattered. There is a void inside of me. My house is empty. My life is empty. Okay. Other symptoms: unable to keep a job, to enjoy a job, lack of purpose, lack of joy, unable to keep beneficial relationship and instead entering into dysfunctional relationships, whether it's partners, friends, or jobs, addiction, drugs, or alcohol abuse. So there are signs.
Rose, I want to ask you a question. There's something that I want you to talk about because I think it's part of it, but I don't want to jump there. Are you amazed at the amount of people that have a hard time sleeping well? Is this part of it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because yeah, there's some people calling it like an epidemic, right? This right. And I mean, there are reasons that some people don't sleep. There's just some people that don't want to sleep. They operate on a low thing. It's just not in their field. But there are people that do want to have a great night's sleep and struggle to it. I mean, there's just so much conversation now about that. How does sleeping fit into what you just said? Or not sleeping, rather, not sleeping.
If you cannot sleep and you want to sleep, right? Because like you say, some of us need 4 or 5 hours and we're fine.
Yeah.
But then there are others, we need to sleep and I wake up and I feel like I didn't get any rest. Well, something is missing to help you. You're looking for something. You're waiting for something. You're thinking about something. Something is simply missing. And the only way to find out what exactly it is in everybody's case is to go and ask. Go and ask. Go and ask the source. Connect and ask, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then follow that advice. And soul retrieval will be one of the recommended approaches to help a person. Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Yeah.
I would say 9 out of 10 is going to be do soul retrieval.
Okay. Okay.
But we are not familiar with it. So we may be in our culture, we may be, oh, what are you talking about?
Yeah. 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 I was just having this conversation this morning with someone that wrote a very interesting book on grief. And the way she wrote it was very different than most books. It was like a chronological book of about 30 weeks of what happened day to day, and some interesting stories. And so one of the things that came up, and I'm going to talk with you about them, is this idea of how disconnected people feel, disassociated people feel, which you've just mentioned. And here's the trick, though. And I when we come back from break, you're going to tell us all about soul retrieval. But this notion, right, we've so normalized some of these things you just walked it, we've normalized them to the point where if we can't recognize them and just accept them, man, when you put them together, they take their toll. So when we come back, we're going to take this journey with Rose. Now what? You've checked the list. Maybe it's feeling out of space. Maybe it's not sleeping. Maybe it's something in your relationship. What do you do about it? When we come back, Rose is going to take you on the retrieval process and aftercare, everyone. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Soul retrieval. I love the conversation that Rose is having with us, because usually when we hear soul retrieval, we don't put this in the context of healing. And healing, at least with, today with Rose, is family healing. You see, this is really the frontier that we're facing right now. Rose, before we talk about soul retrieval, the process, how do people find out about this? And tell us about the work that you do with folks in this area.
Okay, if you would like to work with me or find out what I could do for you, please go to my website, familyhealingwithrose.com, and write me an email. It will be my pleasure to respond.
Thank you. All right, let's talk about the process, because I'm a process person. I love process. And many people don't understand that there is a process for this, right?
Well, yes, there is. Well, we all kind of have our own way, right?
Yeah.
Now, soul retrieval is a spiritual healing, and the purpose of any spiritual healing is to recover all of our power so that we can self-heal, because we have this amazing ability to self-heal our bodies and reconstruct our lives. Now, how to retrieve? Let's go back to the soul parts. How to retrieve them? I say, how to retrieve them with love and compassion so that they stay. Okay, so that they don't flee again. Over the years, I've learned several methods, and I have worked with several modalities. In some of them, we simply order all soul parts to come back, or we demand exchange between people, or we trick them. But we don't really know in these situations. We don't really know what is going on. I feel like I'm in a black box. I feel like the client is in a black box, and there is nothing happening after the session. So my preferred method that I'm following now is the method originally taught by Miss Sandra Ingerman, and I learned it from her authorized teachers. I find it compassionate, loving, respectful of the client on all their levels, okay, but also respectful of all the other parties involved. So in order to retrieve the soul fragments, we have to find them. Where did they go, right?
Yeah.
Now, at first, the soul parts are going to be close to the body. But because in our culture, we are not used to this practice and we don't act, the soul parts flee.
Wow.
They are in another dimension. Shamans call it non-ordinary reality. There is no time, there is no space, and most of the time they are completely disconnected from life here. So as a shaman, I will travel or journey to find the lost soul part. To another time, to another space, another time, maybe another lifetime, or maybe beyond death to recover them. Now, I will not just go and bring back a lost soul part. Not just any lost soul part. We are going to get, and it's also not going to be a soul part that the client wants either. We're going to find that part that is most appropriate for the client to bring back now, because this is the part that will give the most benefit to the client. And we always, always, always go with the intention of harm to none. There is no judgment. There is no nothing here. There is harm to none. Harmony and harm to none. Now we find the soul part, and we find it's going to look like the person when it happened. So it can be a baby, it can be a 5-year-old, 20-year-old, 70-year-old. So that gives a context. Now, I will communicate with it on behalf of the client and find out why it left and explain how the life is different now. Because much time has passed between lost and found. And because of this complete disconnection, there is a little bit of explanation to do. However, now I keep talking about, let's discuss, let's talk, start a conversation, etc. but why that happened. But this why is not to find out what happened during the trauma in all painful details. That is not focus of healing work. That the past is not it's important, but it's not the focus. The focus is today and the future. So all questions and answers are for the purpose of getting information on how to move forward today, how to heal. So why? What did you miss? Maybe the soul is going to say, I missed love, safety, I was scared, I was not appreciated, I didn't like the drugs you took, or I'm here because this is the last time I was truly happy, or I'm here because I'm waiting for somebody, I'm waiting for my loved one, or I was forced to leave, or I am held against my will, which is also possible. And you know what? Sometimes the soul doesn't speak, it's private, because it only wants to communicate with the client, and it will find a way to communicate. You don't have to be intuitive. They will find their way, okay? But most of the time, the soul speaks gladly because finally somebody is listening. Finally, it is being heard. Often the answers are not logical, but that's okay, because there is no mental logic in the heart. Soul is heart, and the heart has its own logic. So we just go with it. And the soul parts that are returning, they bring, we call it beautiful gifts, back to the client. These are the abilities to be able to feel love, to be able to feel joy, regain health, ability to trust, create, hope. Okay, these are all beautiful, beautiful abilities to have back in our life. But I have to say also, the session is only where the healing starts. The healing, the actual healing happens after the session. It is the aftercare where the healing occurs. The client participates, the client takes ownership, the client brings it and makes it happen on every level of their consciousness, in their body, in every cell of their body. And how do we do that? I like to think of it like reconnecting with a long lost friend. And what makes difference? It's the little things that make difference with long lost friends. What would you like to do? Look, this is how our life is now. Look at pictures from the time that the soul loss occurred. And then throughout the life, look, this is how we lived. Let me show you. And our life is now wonderful and safe and full of love. All this, maybe the soul says, well, I would like to eat that cake that from that store, or that special ice cream from that store over there. Maybe to go to bike, to go to the cinema, go to the museum, paint, read a book, anything. We ask, soul tells us, and then we do to show, I'm glad you're back. I appreciate you. I love you.
Wow.
I take care of you. What can I do? That together we are whole again, and we thrive and we enjoy life.
Yeah. Rose, I want to point something out, and I want to thank you for this today. But I want to point something out that I know you didn't say it, it's implied, but I want to say it. This body of work, many people may have tried to do it alone. But this is what I want to say about it. This is the soul retrieval work you have to do, Rose, with someone like you. We have to do it with you and your expertise. And here's why. When I hear you talk about this, I'm hearing love and compassion come from you. I'm hearing somebody that understands the depth and the breadth of what the pain might be that people are experiencing. I'm hearing an expert, somebody that has done this with other people. You know what to look for, you know what to see. And one of the things that makes healing of any kind really elusive for people is they think they have to do it alone. And I think the life-changing part for me really was in 1990. And I'm not quite sure how I got the message that I didn't have to do it alone. I didn't have you, Rose, and certainly Warren talking about it. But now you are here to help people, and you create sacred, loving space. That's why I encourage people to connect with you, because I never did a good job of trying this by myself.
Well, soul retrieval, indeed, you need to be trained to do it.
Yeah.
Okay? To give soul paths that don't belong to you is fine.
Yeah.
Yourself just an intention, let go
Yeah.
with love and forgiveness.
Yeah.
But to go and find it and bring it back, indeed, you need to work with a professional. And already working with two, you create a community. And today, how we are disconnected, already two, you have a circle. And already having that circle starts to be healing. And you know what? I tell people all the time, love and compassion, but also self-love and self-compassion and self-respect. Look, no matter what happened or what is happening, we always have a choice to move forward, step into our power, and discover joy.
Yes.
Some people give their lives to inspire change. Now, if you survived a trauma, there is a reason that you survived, and it is not that you continue suffering. So I invite people to embrace their power, to get it back, and to live for their purpose, because there is a lot coming our way.
Yeah. Wow. Rose, thank you so much. Again, how do people work with you? What is the best way to connect with you? And thank you so much.
Best way to connect with me is to go to my website, familyhealingwithrose.com, and write me an email, and let's start talking, and not talking about pain. Let's start talking about healing.
Yeah. I want to just say this for all of you out there. Many of you know I work in the field of addiction and recovery, and I want to tell you something, that I don't know a single family that doesn't need to heal from this. It doesn't matter who in your family. But again, don't forget, you can go and work with Rose. You can do it by yourself to start, or you can engage your family in a process that will give you a pathway to freedom. How do I know? I've done it. I've been there. And I know your soul is longing for you to take action. Thank you all. Thank you, Rose. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Dr. Pat. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Welcome to Family Healing with Rose and Dr. Pat. Are you struggling with painful, exhausting family relationships? Those relationships are in the heart of Rose's practice, and she believes they are the key ingredient in the recovery to our well-being. During the show, Rose will teach you how to take ownership and responsibility for your energy that comes to you, as well as what you send out. What if your family is not the one you would have wished for? During this show, Rose and Dr. Pat will help you understand how to set boundaries, get long-deserved relief, achieve peace of mind, and even reconcile. Get ready to explore your possibilities, coming from hardship to shining again. Family Healing with Rose starts now.